In this video, I'm going to talk about the Boolean modifier. So I have some objects here, some mesh objects. When I select each object, each of them is a mesh object. So when I click on the cone, it says cone. When I click on the cube, it says cube. And then over here, it just says mesh. This is a text object that I have converted to a mesh. If I go into edit mode by hitting tab, I can see that this text has vertices and faces, everything that would make it a mesh. Okay, so back to object mode. I'm going to first rearrange these things. So something that can be fairly helpful when you are trying to place things exactly is this side menu, which you can pull out using the plus by just clicking the plus, or you can hit in on your keyboard and it will toggle it in and out. Up at the top here, there are location, rotation, scale, and dimensions. Note that this is only available in object mode. It's not available in edit mode. So as I move this cone, you can see the location is changing. Right now I'm just moving along the X. I could move it along the Y, whatever. Rotation, I would like to actually have this cone rotate to the left, which is around the y-axis, 90 degrees, so it's pointing sideways. I believe it's going to be a negative rotation. Let's try negative 90. Yep. Okay, so now it's pointing to the left. I would like it to line up exactly in the center of this cube, which I've scaled a little bit to make it not exactly a perfect cube there. And I know the cube is centered at 0, 0. So I would like my cone y location to be 0. And I'm not looking at this straight on right now, so let me get into a top number pad 7 and ortho, which is number pad 5. Oh, I was already in ortho, so let me get back into ortho. So top ortho view. So now it's centered. If I'm looking from the top, let me look from the side, and it looks like I'm also centered from the side. Where are we? Maybe. Yeah, looks like. So my y, yeah, my y is centered. Okay, so my y is centered. Now I want to, there we go. This is what I was thinking. Now I want to center it vertically so that it's centered on the 0 in the z-axis. Oh, that's pretty close. So type in 0. Okay, so now I'm centered exactly, and I'm going to go ahead and make like a dent, a cone-shaped dent in the side of this cube. So to use the Boolean modifier, I first select the object that I want to cut. So I'm going to make the hole in the cube, so I'm going to select the cube. I'm going to go over here to the right. I'm going to select the wrench, which is modifiers pane. I'm going to add a modifier. It is a Boolean. In this window, it's important for some reason to select the operation first, and I really only use difference. Difference subtracts something from the object. There's also union, which combines two objects, which we can just use join for our purposes. It's fine. There's also intersect, which should keep whatever is intersecting. In this case, it would keep a smaller version of the cone wherever the two pieces overlap. But I really don't ever use those two, but you might find a use for them. So I'm going to select difference, which will subtract the cone from the cube. I'm going to select my object, my cutting object, and that is my cone. And then I'm going to say apply and move this object out of the way, and you can see that it has made a cone-shaped hole in that object. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with this text. With text, I find it a little bit harder to tell exactly how deep am I in the text. So let me first get this a little bit more lined up. So here, so I'm going to look at this from the side. Maybe I'll just look at it from the front. And I'm going to change my view to wireframe. There's a couple ways you can do that. On your keyboard, if you hit Z, it changes to wireframe. And wireframe is just a mode that lets you see through all of your objects and know where the edges are. So if I hit Z again, I'll toggle out of it. There's another way to change that, which is this selector right next to object mode. It's a display selector. Normally we're in solid, and then here's wireframe. There's also a few other ones that rendered is one you might use. Really, we won't use any of these other ones. So wireframe or solid. Okay, so basically I just wanted to see how far down my text was in this cube so that I'm not sitting like right on top of it and not really making a dent in it, or like super far down, doesn't print very well. I would say you want to stay around a millimeter or so, maybe a little deeper if the letters are big, and that'll give you your best 3D print if you're using it for that. Oh, forgot I was in wireframe. There we go. So again, I'm going to select the object I want to cut, which is the cube. I'm going to add my Boolean modifier, select difference, select my object, which this time is text, then my cutting object, say apply, move my text out of the way, and there is my words in there. By the way, if you're adding text and you have it like a super fancy text, or you've played around with, let me just add a text object real quick. If you've played around with the bevel in your text, it's possible that the Boolean modifier will not work very well. So if that happens to you, re-add your text, either choose a simpler font and or make sure that your bevel is at 0. Also offset can do the same thing. So I would recommend offset and bevel are both at 0 if you are doing a Boolean join with a text object. Okay, that is it for this. Maybe I can show you just real quick how to make the text object into a mesh object, and that's here under Object, Convert to Mesh. So once you have your text looking the way you want it to, you can do that, and that will allow you to Boolean.